All right, welcome back to the Quick Escape Pod. This is going to be part two of our document review for the Department of Defense's recent military and security developments involving the People's Republic of China report. If you have not watched part one yet, the link will be listed in the description below. I got the full team here today. So we got Chad, Cody, and Matt. And I guess let's get after it. All right. So the DOD report, if you've not seen it, the link will be in the description below. We have already covered a pretty big chunk of this in part one. Now, in this part two, we're really going to be focusing on the People's Liberation Army, Navy, and their new Marine Corps. That right now, the People's Republic of China has the numerically the largest Navy in the world. So they have about 355 ships and submarines, and they have more than 145 major surface combatants. The People's Republic of China commissioned its first domestically built aircraft carrier in late 2019, and they expect a second aircraft carrier entering service in 2024. They've also recently launched their second Yushan class amphibious assault ship, which is a Type 075 light helicopter dock platform. First launched this in 2019 as a new class of large deck amphibious warships. And there's a third hull already under construction. In the near term, the People's Liberation Army Navy will have the capability to conduct long-range precision strikes against land targets from its submarines and surface combatants using land attack cruise missiles. So here we got a picture of some Chinese sailors in their new blue digital uniforms.
I always wondered why the Navy likes to use blue uniforms. What if they fell off the ship? They're just gone.
They have the dye packet. Duh. It like explodes in pink. Then you come back on the boat and you're covered in pink dye. And it's like, what happened to you?
You know what happened.
Well, I mean, the Americans are green now, so it's a little better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they always had those super dark blue ones. I was like, bro, you fall off the boat in the night, you're gone. You're gone, bro. You're gone.
Just go astronaut method, orange or white. We'll see you in the water.
Well, I think they're copying us a lot, so they probably saw that the U.S. Navy got those blue uniforms, and then they just haven't had time to upgrade to.
Yeah, maybe that was one of our tactics.
That
was one of our tactics. Like, hey, they're copying us. Let's make these super blue so that they get lost in the sea.
Yeah, they'll never find us, neither will we. All right.
Can't find me if I can't find me.
In addition to their nifty blue digital uniforms, here's from the report where their major naval units are right now. We'll kind of tackle this piece by piece here throughout this portion of the document review, but this just gives you a quick overview of where most of their naval assets are. And here's the Northern Theater, their Eastern and Southern theaters here. You see that they're really stacked, a pretty good chunk of their naval assets in their Eastern theater as well as their Southern theater. So the People's Liberation Army, Navy, and their Marine Corps, they've conducted significant training events throughout 2020. So despite all the COVID-19 restrictions we've been having, they seem to not be nearly as deterred during this period. And in 2020, the PRC's first domestically built aircraft carrier, the Shandong, conducted planned sea trials and training, including aviation support, damage control, and weapons and equipment performance testing. And their Navy has also conducted emphasis on, they've continued to emphasize realistic combat training, highlighting the late 2020 by 3 concurrent naval exercises, which is, once again, kind of impressive, right? We kind of shut things down quite a bit, but they seem to continue operations, well beyond what we were doing during this period.
Something on that's funny is you can see in the document that the Chinese are actively always doing drills, but you don't really see in the media where they are. But whenever a Japanese ship leaves territorial waters, they go, Japanese ship heads south for the first time in 70 years. I mean, landmark and Imperial Japanese Navy capabilities. And so every time an American ally does anything, heavily monitored. Every time China does anything, they're like, it's just China. So
that's disinformation campaign. They love to just make us out to be the bad guys no matter what. That's not to go off on a Ukraine tangent, but a lot of my fellow cohorts believe that if Russia does something in Ukraine, then China will be the first ones to denounce any kind of U.S. like intervention or whatever. If we decide to even like say that it's a bad thing, China will be like, well, it's your fault, blah, blah, blah. Just try to make us always out to be the bad guy.
It's a salesman theory. Put your foot in the door. You're like, no, you're not closing this. I have something to say.
Yeah.
Hey, roll that back for me. What did you just call the Navy?
The plan.
No, he called it the Japanese Imperial Navy. Okay, Grandpa, chill out there.
Oh, me? Oh,
They're not coming back. Oh God, the Japanese Navy left. Get to Hawaii.
Get to Hawaii.
We gotta warn them.
They ain't worried about Guam or anybody. Just to get to Hawaii.
He said the Imperial Navy. I was like,
I mean, I've worked with the Navy or the Japanese Navy, and they still wave that cool little flag. So it's like, you can rename it to whatever you want. I still know what it looks like.
Imperial Navy.
I've been playing a lot of World at War, so
Yeah,
I'm pretty big into Age of Empires right now. I haven't stopped.
Fucking.
Well, I mean, it's a good point. I don't remember any talk about these training events taking place back in 2020 last year. Like this report was the first, real official news that I saw that they were conducting these operations.
Well, China does put it out on their TV. Like a lot of their news and stuff does showcase these drills and these training events. It's just that it's not reported to in Western media. Like nobody really covers it. Like it's covered
unless they go around
Taiwan. Well, yeah, unless they go around Taiwan or China or whatever, or Japan. But the Chinese government plays these videos constantly. It's just kind of like North Korea. It's just nothing but propaganda videos showing how awesome they are. And the Western media just kind of like, okay, next.
Well, in October 2020, President Xi Jinping, he visited their new Marine Corps headquarters. And he's been doing a lot of, press releases with the Marine Corps, which it looks like they're really trying to push this whole new Marine Corps thing out there, the best that they can. So here's some pictures of the Marines in their new uniform. It looks a lot like our multicam. Weird. So for the report, the Marine Corps has been expanding a lot in China, a lot more focus on expeditionary operations. They previously consisted of only 2 brigades, about 10,000 personnel. And then, when we fast forward to 2020, they've enlarged the force structure to 8 brigades. And they're really it looks like they're trying to mirror the United States Marine Corps with more scalable and more mobile force, focus on joint expeditionary operations. They're also seem to be taking on the irregular warfare role for China as well. They have continued to fully equip and train their newly established maneuver brigades. And they have a soft brigade that they're working on, as well as an aviation brigade as well. So they're building this aviation component into their Marine Corps that they previously looks like they didn't have.
You said a soft brigade, like special operations, or
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, underneath their Marine Corps.
The Marine Corps soft brigade. That's nice.
Yeah. So once again, they probably saw that we were doing MARSOC and were like, all right.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, well, go ahead and spell that MARSOC out for us. Is it just me or those bayonets look fake?
They're plastic. Well, they're made in China, so.
There you go. There it is. I like it.
Yeah. So here's their. They've been doing a lot of these amphibious raids recently, and their Marine Corps looks like they're just kind of taking a page out of our Marine Corps playbook. So they want their role and mission to basically include global expeditionary operations, conducting amphibious operations to seize and defend small reef and island outposts, and conduct non-military activities as well, which seems like a very vague for all term. And so they've been doing a lot of training in those small islands in the South China Sea.
By whatever do you mean?
Did that document talk about specifically if there's any other training areas, say out west or in other parts of China, where, say, for example, Americans, they have divisions or Marine divisions on each side of the country, but if they're going to Iraq, they go to 29 Palms, California first, and they get training in the sandbox before they go over. They're not going to go to the jungle to train, then to go to the desert. So
Now,
if the Chinese have a base out in Djibouti and they're going to send the Marines out there, hypothetically, do they have a training center for that?
So if you look at where they put their Marines, so they have 2 brigades in their southern theater. They have 1 brigade in their northern theater. And I can't remember if they have any in their eastern theater. I'll have to go back and we'll take a look at that. Those theater distribution of forces charts that the DOD put out here in a little bit. But I mean, they've been doing a variety of cross-regional training exercises. So it looks like, per at least their press releases on their website, they've really been focused on those islands in the South China Sea.
China likes to do just like we do. Like they like to train for the Indian border, where they have a lot of those conflicts with India. They train up there all the time. They deploy entire brigades up to that high altitude training just to prep for anything like that. So you can almost guarantee that these guys are training just for the same thing. Like if something were to happen in Taiwan, they're training for an event like that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so their amphibious capabilities were highlighted in this this DOD report. So it looks like they're continuing to make modest gains in their overall ability to conduct amphibious warfare. They have 12 units organized and equipped to conduct amphibious operations now. And just over the past 5 years, they fielded new equipment designed specifically for amphibious operations, such as their ZBD-05 amphibious infantry fighting vehicle and the PLZ-07B amphibious self-propelled howitzer. And that seems to be the 2 platforms that they've been using the most in these exercises that they've been doing over the past year and a half. They've also made efforts to improve their ability to insert forces by air. So they've restructured their airborne corps, and both the Army and the Marine Corps units equipped for amphibious operations conduct regular company to battalion level amphibious training exercises. And here's some pictures of them conducting those amphibious operations. They're definitely fielding quite a few of these infantry fighting vehicles, and they've been using these landing craft, these air cushion vehicles as well.
Aircraft, nice.
And here they're once again a little close up of their amphibious infantry fighting vehicles. And there's that self-propelled howitzer that they've been using as well. It seems to be pretty well integrated with most of these training operations. There are a whole bunch of Chinese Marines raiding the beach. And it looks like these ZBD-05 amphibious fighting vehicles have anti-tank missiles on them as well. There are a lot of pictures and videos of them conducting ranges, firing off these anti-tank missiles. So I found this phenomenal promotion video for the People's Liberations Army Navy. We'll include a link down in the description, but they highlight their Marine Corps quite a bit in this video. And it is hilarious that on their first scene that they have of their Marines is a bunch of dudes shirtless wrestling in the water. Like some Chinese propaganda. Yeah, the Chinese propaganda division was just probably watching Top Gun, and then they saw that volleyball saying like, "Oh yeah, we got to incorporate."
That's exactly how we do this.
Watch it. It shows the Chinese Marines kitting up, trying to highlight their weapons, their optics, their high cut helmets. A lot of stuff about them conducting airborne operations, fast roping, and maneuvering through the woods. So in the rest of that video, if you watch, I have no idea what
That's a monocle.
that is.
It's sideways though.
Yeah, it turns down.
How? Like,
So like I was
do
about
you
to say,
see it? Like that looks like it would go down to his fucking mouth.
no, look at the so
I see it. I see the elbow, but that looks like it would go down to his mouth. It's so
I was about
long.
to say it's the rhino mount is like a ball bearing, so he can like switch eyes on it. So he just takes it off, and then no, they Task and Purpose did this whole thing about them like switching from like the QZ, that bullpup rifle, to these new what are their new battle rifles called? They're knockoff AKs is what they are, but it's because the soldiers were crying about the fact that they wanted PEC 19s, more scopes, more foregrips, and like they completely
Just like a bunch of
modernized
poogs.
it. Yeah, like have you
Oh,
guys
it's
been
the QBZ 95 is their
Yeah.
name.
Easy
name
99. I
of
knew
the
that, yeah.
rifle.
they completely redid everything.
Here's what I really like. He's got an MVG top, it looks like, right? But he's got a big ass flashlight next to his head, so he can blind himself as soon as he turns it on. He's like, oh god.
Right at eye level, so when he looks at his
Yeah.
buddies, they're just like, ah. Like,
They're all blind. The whole platoon's gone.
Yeah, it seems like they got some money coming in their way, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get as many optics." as
Oh
we
my
can."
god.
Yeah.
What can we throw all this money at?
We're finally gonna be like the Americans.
Finally.
Iron sights be damned.
yeah, right.
And that looks like a regular fucking helmet, to be honest. That looks like a regular like US Army helmet. Like
Yeah.
the not the Mitch helmets, but the fucking little ones.
Oh, it looks
the
just like
leather
the
strap.
ACH. Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like the ACH. There it is. Good thing of the title. That's exactly what that thing looks like.
and you can see from these pictures. I mean, almost the way they've structured their Marine Corps from top to bottom, it just looks so much just like the U.S. military.
Yep, 100%.
You say here, so there they are, kind of moving through the woods. They know hand and arm signals.
I don't know where I'm at.
Showing that off. And you can see that QBZ 95 rifle with some
That's not bad looking.
optics.
I
And it
ain't
looks like a silencer on there too.
Yeah, I'm about to say that silencer's pretty hot. I ain't gonna lie. It looks nice.
He actually has that. It's like a J arm, but it's like
That
Dude,
looks
is that-
like seriously, if he were to pull that down, that would be at his like nose level.
that.
It looks like
can't-
it's so
dude,
long.
You know how big a PVS 14 is? Like the one monocle we have. That thing
Yeah.
is like, that thing is so small. That can't work.
Can't work
Yeah.
well if it does work.
That's what I was about to say. That doesn't look like it's a good NVG. Like it looks like once again, as Matt said, made in China NVG. Like
What you don't know, all that's in there is another flashlight. So it just
Yeah.
shines the light out.
He's also, he's got it looks like he's got an earpiece for his comms too. So
yeah, see, I was about to say that. It looks the earpiece looks right there.
yeah, I think by and large, I mean, it definitely looks like they have modernized, but they have modernized on almost like to the exact standard of, or at least close to, right, of the U.S. military.
Mhm.
It seems to be very obvious.
Basic level US.
It's very obvious what they're going for.
Oh yeah, Matt. If you're saying anything, by the way, you're muted.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
There we go. Yeah, I'm about to say you've been muted for quite some time. I don't know if you.
I don't know
had
what
been
happened,
putting
but
out there.
I was dropped out of the video and I had to re-enter. So
And then I love how the end of this video, they're showing a modern, Marine Corps essentially. And they immediately throw in hey, but we still report to the party flag. No mention of serving the Chinese people or,
Yeah, of course.
their nation. It's we report right to the party flag. And then they
It
throw
should say
that
she.
That's how it works.
Yeah,
and
it should
how,
say
you
she.
know-
We report directly to she.
Yeah. And I know, like, it's funny. They're like, look, we modernized, but this is not dedicated to our modernization. It's only dedicated to the 100th anniversary of the Communist Party of China. Like,
Yeah,
Boom,
right.
it's all a farce. Those optics, those weapons, they're fake. They're not real. It was just for show.
well, if they really wanted to copy the U.S. Marine Corps, they would have had their people, in a tavern getting drunk somewhere.
After
Or
all
mopping
that,
in the
after all
rain.
that, just fucking drunk as all hell.
Yeah.
We made that awesome video. Time to go get slam wasted and beat up the public.
so you're
It
saying
reminds me, if our Marine Corps always has these yearly videos where the commandant and sergeant major come out and talk about the direction that's coming, does the Chinese do that? Does the PLAN Marine Corps sit down and say, like, yeah, this is our commandant. He understands. Here's where he comes from. Here's where he wants to take it.
Well,
Or
I
is it
didn't
just
really
all-
see anything about the comment, but I saw that Xi Jinping is doing
Yeah,
a lot of like
I was just about to say
presentations
that.
with the Marine Corps.
'Cause-
I mean,
Yeah,
There's
Xi
Yeah, I was just
Jinping
about to
is
say. So
forcing everything
she
with
is
that
the
special hand.
mouthpiece of everything. So if
Yeah,
there's something to be put out, he puts it out. Like that's just the way it goes. Like he doesn't let anybody make it seem like it's their idea. It's his idea because he is she, and that's pretty much the way it
he is
goes.
she and he is me. Yep.
Yeah.
like the one thing that I saw missing in this promotion video, there's no mention of their commandant, right? There's no mention of their sergeant major. There's no one else. Like it's only, hey, look at our neat stuff. We're modern, and everything's about the Communist Party. See?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
but
know.
if you want to try to exploit that, I mean, how many Americans know about? How many? We know we have generals. Marines know their generals, and everyone kind of knows about the new Secretary of Defense. This is his history. This is the new guy coming in. Like General Berger's coming out of the Marine Corps. We know where he's come from. We know where he's going. He's an infantry guy. If the communists, if the Chinese don't have that, they don't. If the president of the country is the end all be all, who's in charge? Like when it comes down to the tactical level with the little guy down at that company, down to that fire team, who makes the calls at that decision? Because you can't call she every time.
Well,
So-
it's kind of like North Korea, to be honest. They do make the call. That's right. You still have people that make the call, but if it's wrong, you answer to she. Like that's
Yeah.
it. Like there's no way around it. It's just like North Korea. As soon as a general fucks up, he's dead. You know what I mean?
That's really borrowing from that former Soviet doctrine
Yep.
where, yeah, we have to call the strategic command to bomb this house. Why? Because they give the authorization. They report directly to the top. So it's
But
if you want to exploit it tactically, level on level, I'm sure that strategic corporal in the background of the Marine Corps is going to make some better calls than this general running a division. So,
Well, I mean, even then, yeah, you can see from for those of you, that want to go watch this promotion video that the Chinese put out about their Navy Marine Corps. What I didn't see was anything about any esprit de corps, right? Like
No,
minus
of
their
course
little
not.
shirtless wrestling match in the water at the very beginning. They're copying a lot from the U.S. Marine Corps, but I think they're missing some of the key points, right? The Marine Corps is more than just what kit you're wearing or that you soar on beach, but
because our Marine Corps goes all the way down to the lowest level of you join automatically. Marine Corps is better than the other branches. Then you go to boot camp. All right, West Coast is automatically better than East Coast. So no matter where you go, you in your little community is the best one, and you have to compete with the others. And so the whole Marine Corps is improving in the same direction because they're trying to one up each other. But if they don't have that, the Chinese Marine Corps, there's no esprit de corps. There's no reason to keep improving outside of my ass belongs to she, and if he doesn't like what I'm doing, I'm gone. So
yeah,
Well,
that's pretty
hunger
much
is a
it.
great motivator. So
well, and remember,
Well, they
you
ain't
could be a
starving.
tennis player and
They ain't starving.
go missing.
this
So,
promotion
Go
video
missing
too.
might be our part of it.
This promotion video, while it included the Marine Corps pretty heavily, it was a Navy promotion video, right? So that, like their Marines didn't even get their own propaganda video.
Well, you could also look at that as it's a new organization. They don't have a history of, they didn't fight against the Americans in Korea, and I'm sure the Chinese Marines didn't fight the Vietnamese in the 70s and 80s. So if it's a new organization, they're just figuring it out. So,
Yeah.
Be
Well,
definitely
speaking
something to keep an eye on. That's for damn sure.
oh yeah, of course.
so in the end of that promotion video, they did mention how China set up their first overseas support base, which we know is Djibouti, and I got a
Yeah,
picture of it
good
up
old
here.
DJ.
You see how close they put their naval base to Camp Lemonnier, which is where the United States, the Italians, the French, and the Japanese have military units stationed in Djibouti as well.
If I was an educated man who worked in the intelligence community, I would say that this base is heavily monitoring Ethiopia as the Americans struggle to figure out what to do.
Well, it's funny you say that because when you overlay where the railroad is, so I think it was interesting that the Chinese put their military base kind of more like at the start of that railroad. And so, I mean, everything runs by Camp Lemonnier and then Chabley Airfield, which is where it's listed that we have some U.S. drones stationed there. It's interesting that they chose that location at the port in vicinity of the railroad. Because yeah, I mean they're essentially in position to monitor everything that we do now in Djibouti.
Oh, yeah, of
Everything in and
course.
out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, they could bottleneck because if Camp Lemonnier is on the other side of the channel, then that entire choke point is owned by the Chinese now, not us.
Mhm.
So
So basically, the entire the port, all those supplies, all the logistics coming into the port, going on the railroad, the Chinese have direct access to monitor everything.
Mhm.
And so this is actually some press releases that the Chinese did back in 2017, showing that they were doing some exercises outside of their base in Djibouti. They were kind of showcasing their vehicles, their Marines. You can see that the Marines are still rocking their blue uniforms at that time.
Yeah,
yeah, don't change anything, fellas. You're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Elbow pads. We've got amateurs.
The first thing anyone ditches.
Yeah, it sounds like the Marines that they have in Djibouti, they're going to plan to really use them for counter piracy, naval escort missions, as well as working with Russian troops, Thai troops, and doing it sounds like potentially some limited exchanges with the United States and Australia as well.
Also on the topic, since Djibouti's right across the street from Yemen, where they have that whole civil war going on, and if the Houthis are, because they had that raid on the U.S. Embassy a few weeks ago, if those guys are backed by the Iranians and the Chinese and the Iranians are quasi friends, I wonder what that base is going to be used for in Yemen. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they picked a pretty solid piece of real estate to put up their first base.
Oh, 100%.
And so here's some of those some additional press releases from their live fire exercise in Djibouti in 2017.
Missed.
And then going back to the report, talk about the Taiwan Strait. The report kind of shows up the balance of powers between China and Taiwan. And we can see that with the addition of these additional Marine brigades, they have, looks like 5 of those brigades just right at the Taiwan Strait. Compared to Taiwan's 2, it seems like the Chinese are really positioned themselves for a solid amphibious landing operation in the near future.
Has there been any reports in their LCACs functioning from ship to shore? Because if they don't really get too far without breaking down, that could be a tactical win for the West in America. So,
yeah, that's a good
in
point.
the event that they want to go after Taiwan.
Well, yeah, I actually included some stuff on here we can kind of deep dive into. So for this, going back to the major ground units, so the Chinese, they put their Marine headquarters down here in their southern theater. Looks like it was just outside of Wuchang. And what's interesting about that is how stacked they are at that same location at Hainan Island with other naval assets. So you can see that the PLA Navy, they've got their theater headquarters nearby. Now their Marine Corps headquarters is in the vicinity of those other naval units. They have a Naval Aviation Brigade there, pretty big base. They have a Naval Aviation Special Mission Division in that vicinity, as well as pretty decent number of their Southern Theater fleet is stationed right there in the vicinity of the Marine headquarters.
That's just to keep the Filipinos and the Vietnamese in check. Like, hey, I can use this if I need to, and it's here for a reason. So,
yeah, I think going back to how much they've kind of knocked off from the U.S. Marine Corps, Chesty, who fought them back in the Korean War, him and his Marines went up against 21 Chinese infantry divisions and destroyed 7 of them while they were withdrawing. And Chesty said there are not enough Chinamen in the world to stop a fully armed Marine regiment from going wherever they want to go. And clearly the nomenclature was a little off, right? Quote the Big Lebowski. But it definitely looks like the Chinese have remembered that. So they have looked at the U.S. Marine Corps. They've seen how we've set up our Marine Expeditionary units. This is what a typical Marine Expeditionary unit looks like now, consisting of, at least one Wasp class or an America class helicopter docking ship, and then a San Antonio class or a Whitberry Island class or Harper's Ferry class ship with LCATs and supported by fixed wing and rigger wing in VTOL assets. And then when you have a infantry unit supported with artillery and the amphibious assault vehicles as well.
To throw in, so right here. So the Americans use the Marine Expeditionary Units for essentially an invasion in a box that can sustain itself for, up to 3 weeks. It has all the food, all the tools, all the equipment to secure a beachhead, secure a foothold while the Army and the rest of the guys show up. I wonder if the Chinese have thought that far ahead or if they're just playing it day by day, because America's used these for a long time and I don't think they've gone wrong once. So,
well, it looks like they're copying the doctrine pretty well. So, if you look at the way the Marine Corps sets up the Marine Expeditionary Units with a command element, a battalion landing team, a medium helicopter squadron, and a service support group, you look at the developments that have kind of come out in this DOD report, highlighting this Type 075 landing helicopter dock, which, looks so similar to what, we're using in the Marine Expeditionary Units. I mean, it almost looks like a pretty carbon copy for the most part. And then these ships, these Type 075 helicopter landing docks, they've been seen operating out the coast of Luchane, right in the vicinity of where they put the Marine Corps headquarters. And this is courtesy from the Center for Strategic and International Studies. And this was as of November 3rd, 2020. You can kind of see that island that we mentioned right near the Marine headquarters, Hanain Island, stacked with naval assets, and this is where they're positioning those Type 075 helicopter landing docks. And then to kind of add on to that, with the way our Marine Corps Expeditionary Units are augmented with the helicopter squadrons, we see now the Chinese Marine Corps is standing up this aviation brigade. And in 2020, they graduated their first group of domestically trained shipborne helicopter pilots. And it looks like they're going to continue to kind of grow this capability, once again, probably to mirror what our Marine Expeditionary Units are doing. They're just kind of going back to the Southern Theater and the Eastern Theater where they stack those naval assets. And obviously, it looks like they stack them in a way where Taiwan is in the forefront of their mind. And if we were to go back to that Taiwan Strait depiction of the report, they have Marine brigades up to the north. They have Marine brigades in the south. It looks like they're planning to use them to essentially, start whatever potential invasion may lay ahead in the future, prior to the Chinese 72nd and 73rd Army groups in the Eastern Theater using those 16 tank landing ships that they have stationed over there to bring the main force over. So that's kind of how it looks like, just the way that they've structured their force. This is kind of what they're planning.
Those naval SAMs are no joke either.
What's that?
Those naval SAMs, those naval surface-to-air missiles, those really control the airspace no matter where they're going.
And just going back to that global security review, talking about the multi-domain operations that the U.S. has kind of laid out recently with space, cyber, on top of air, land, and maritime domains. And then now we have, the Chinese Marine Corps. They're going to have their own aviation brigade. They have now 8 infantry brigades that are going to be, fully operational and equipped, as well as these very Marine expeditionary-like, groups centered around these Type 075 landing helicopter docks, which I think it's going to be interesting fighting a force potentially that's structured very similar to the way ours is doctrinally, right? Except, the U.S. clearly has, centuries more of experience doing this than the Chinese Marine Corps. But still,
our Marine Corps is also modernizing too by ditching tanks and arty and going a completely new direction. So I wonder how that's going to go.
Yeah, I didn't see any reference to Chinese Marine Corps artillery or tanks. It looks like they were just using those amphibious fighting vehicles and then the self-propelled howitzers as their main mechanized pieces.
A light infantry force. Oh yes, that's the purpose of the Marine Corps. So it's, I don't know, maybe they saw what we were doing because we announced it years ago and said, yeah, if they're doing this, it's for a reason. Let's copy that. So
yeah, because I haven't seen any. They didn't.
Or maybe it's because you can't use tanks in Taiwan. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
And so I thought we could do just a quick flashback to 2018, which was this is the same report but released 3 years ago. At least back in 2018, they talked about how the Chinese Marine Corps was continuing to equip, plan, and train for sustained amphibious operations. We see that they've kind of accomplished that. Back 2018, it looks like the Navy didn't make any significant additions to its amphibious fleet, but did launch that Type 075 helicopter landing deck, which we have seen has actually entered service. And then, back in 2018, they talked about how the People's Republic of China is really focused on, expanding the Marine Corps. That just a couple years ago was only 2 brigades, and I've already grown it up to 8 brigades. And then, if you compare those naval units from 2018 to now 2021, we see that in their Eastern Theater, they've added on. They've almost doubled the amount of corvettes that they have in their Eastern Theater. They've increased their amphibious transport docks in the Eastern Theater as well. And then in their Southern Theater, they've added on an aircraft carrier. They've almost doubled their corvettes, and then they've increased their total number of amphibious transport docks. And then the other big change from 2018 to current is now the Marine Corps, or the Chinese Marine Corps, has their headquarters, which is a pretty big deal. And then they've also moved their theater army headquarters closer to the coast, which I thought was another interesting move, moving it closer to Hong Kong. And that concludes part 2 of our DOD report on China. If you have any thoughts on additional documents you'd like to see in the future, please feel free to leave those in the comment. Let us know. And if you like this, if you thought this was helpful, hit that like button and subscribe. You guys got any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Don't forget to share.
Yeah, don't forget
Share
to
it
share
on everything. Everything.
Yeah.
Share everything.
Yeah, and follow the Instagram. It's a real thing.
Spotify.
And Spotify. And wherever you get your
Twitch.
podcast needs.
We don't live stream on Twitch. We're just idiots, but it's okay. Or at least we don't live stream this stuff on Twitch. We play video games.
Bingo.
Yeah, like World at War.
Yeah. Mr. Imperial Japanese Navy.
I'm looking right at the flag right now. It's on the wall.
This is really
Wait,
say
wait,
Imperial
wait.
Japanese Navy.
Yep. I live there. I think I earned it.